Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 70677. This is the LEGO Ninjago Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu Land Bounty, containing 1,178 pieces and retailing for $129.99, containing a pretty respectable amount of 9 figures. The overall design of the box for this is pretty good. It is, I do particularly like the box art that wraps around the side. It is a very large box too, so it's difficult for me to show it all in this area, but it does show off the features on the back of the box pretty well, and all the figures along the top. It's just overall an attractive box design, but we're not here to just look at a box, are we? Let's take a look at the actual built-up set. The set does have one very large instruction manual with a couple of interesting ads in the back, including a 2-page ad for all of the sets from this theme, or this sub-theme I should say, a just generic LEGO building ad, and then this cool little poster thing, and also just a little page showing all of the features, including the spinning saw blades, and the cannons, and the turning mechanism, and ATV. And the full built-up model is pretty respectably sized, and throughout this review, I'm probably going to be drawing a lot of comparisons to the Diesel Knot, as that, from the year before, was the largest vehicle set in that wave, and so far, unless I'm missing something, this set and the Diesel Knot are the only two Ninjago vehicles to have retailed for over $100, as in, sets that are just completely a vehicle. Aside from, the Destiny's Bounty boats that they've done in the past, the 2015 one and the Ninjago movie one. But every other time that they've done a Ninjago set over $100, it's been a play set or something. So, there are going to be a lot of just inherent comparisons. The Diesel Knot, though, did retail for $110, while this retailed for $130. But, the overall size of the vehicles are somewhat similar. The Diesel Knot has a little bit more length of wheelbase, but this sail, extends a little bit further past where the Diesel Knot goes. The Diesel Knot's height goes up to about here, so this is slightly taller. And then, of course, the sails, which, I'm attempting to not take those into consideration because they are very easily removable and don't actually have much mass, just a lot of visual presence. The wheels here, though, have these new for 2019 summer wheel cap things, which fit perfectly around this small size of wheel, but you can actually stick them on the outside of this larger wheel as well, and it doesn't look too bad. These are actually attached using this part, so it just goes straight through that. And as you can see right there, there's a little bit of a steering mechanism, and that works via this little engine at the back, which I'll show you a back view later. But basically, you can turn that, and it will turn the wheels. And these actually turn at different radiuses, so it's get some good mobility there. You also have these saw blades, which are also new for this wave, and these just rest via gravity onto the ground, and that little wheel underneath will make it spin as it turns around, and that looks pretty good, pretty respectable. And just from a front view, straight on front, ignore this area. This set's just so big that it's going to require me to sort of extend beyond the length of my desk. But up here we have this front cockpit, which we can get figures in there. I'll show you this with figures in there later. This is done with some upside down building. Looks pretty good. And then this front bumper area, looks rough and tough, pretty mean. It's just got some good detail around the sides. I do really like just how much space we have here on the stairs to place figures and pose them outside this door. Unfortunately, this door is actually shorter than a figure, so it doesn't really work. You have to stick a figure in sideways, but you can, stick figures through, which is a good thing. It just would have been nice if this could have been done a little bit taller so that you could actually walk figures through there. That would have made this set really cool. But there's also a little weapon rack back here with just 2 weapons using some of those pieces from the newer weapon packs. And this set's actually not completely symmetrical. Around this side it's pretty similar, but you'll notice that we do have this gear back here that does something on the inside, which we'll see in a second. But, you know, it looks pretty much the same elsewhere. And moving just to the back here, we get a pretty decent view of the engines. They use a lot of these BB9E heads in black, which just a cool shape, and you know, help get the engines looking pretty cool. And you know, this does something that we'll take a look at later. This is the turning mechanism, and you got some ladders here, so I guess you can climb up onto these side ledges. And we also have these flaps here, which allow you to get this ATV thing here, which, you know, this doesn't look too bad. It can sit a figure on it pretty comfortably. You don't really even have to remove the sword. You can just kind of pull it up a little bit, and you know, it'll sit there. It's got a pretty good rake to it as well, and can attach some weapons on the back, but other than that, there's really nothing special to it. And you could alternatively use this space for other stuff. You could stand figures or sit figures, I guess. You can't really stand them. It's a little bit too short for that, but you know, it's a decent use of space to be able to, you know, stick this in there, and it looks pretty good. But you know, we also have storage for an extra spring-loaded missile shot, which we'll see where the spring-loaded shooter is later. And again, I just like the design of these engines. Also, the railing up here. We have the sticker that, you know, says Land Bounty. We got this sticker of that symbol, and we have this other sticker here, which includes the numbers 2508. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I looked it up. It's not a reference to the original Destiny's Bounty, which I was sort of expecting, because that did exist back when I had 4-digit set numbers. It's actually the set number of the blacksmith shop, so I don't know why they chose that one, unless possibly this is, you know, designed by the same guy who designed the blacksmith shop. I'm not sure. But up here we have this cannon, which can turn around, and it is one of those, you know, cannons that you can pull back the back, and it will shoot out these black 1x1 bricks, and you get 2 extras of those that you can use as spare ammo. I got some clips here which we can use to attach weapons. And on the other side there's this little bonsai tree, which is a cute little build. But you know, you got some standing room for figures all over here. You can, you know, stand them a little bit of an angle just using the single studs there. And you can see back here there's a second cockpit, which we will see in a moment. But we do have this section here, which acts as sort of a flying detachable vehicle, and that you know, exposes a little bit of the interior. But inside there really isn't too much going on. It's actually you know, relatively empty in that space, because there is this little cannon here. You might remember the little gear that we showed you on the other side, and you know, that is used to lift up this spring-loaded missile turret, and you can turn that turret around. This gear doesn't like make it spin, but you can make it spin yourself, and you can just shoot off your spring-loaded missile shots. And you know, that does go right up and into the same space as this little buggy, which you can actually see the little buggy through this grate back here. But you know, with this removed and this pulled up, so that doesn't look too bad. We got a little bit of open space here, but you know, otherwise this is still a pretty operational vehicle. And you could just take a like 8x4 plate from your own collection and put it here, and that will kind of fill this in and make it, you know, look completely like a vehicle of its own, albeit with a little bit of a plain looking back half. And I think they show in the instructions to have this go like that and cover the entrance. I personally prefer to do it like this, because especially when you have these spring-loaded shots removed, you know, this basically becomes just an area you can walk through and stand figures in. And you can stand figures right in this area. I know the entranceway doesn't work for, you know, passing figures through, but if you take this and you plop this on, it will fit with Jay standing up there. So there is standing room for figures inside, which is good. But as far as getting access to this front section, we're going to pull up this cannon area. So this little bridge area will stay, but then we get access to the interior. And the interior is pretty decently detailed. It features this arcade machine, which can't be pulled out just because of this piece here, so it is locked in place. But, you know, it is pretty decently built up. Uses one of these printed 1x1 tiles here, and that screen is a sticker, but the screen looks pretty good. This screen up here is a print on that 1x2 tile. The 1x4 tile in the front, though, we can remove the steering wheel, you can see it a little bit better, but that tile there, that features a sticker. But it looks pretty good, and you can see 2 figures in this area. It's a little bit hard to get the second one in with their shoulder armor, but they do both fit. And you can see back here, there is this little weapon rack, and this area is just walking space to where we put Jay earlier. And again, you can fit all sorts of figures in there. There are some studs on the floor that you can stick other figures on, and there's another weapon rack here that I'll show you in a second, but this has a sort of nunchuck-like weapon, and these are just on jumpers, so you can remove them, and that if you don't want these in here, if you don't care, then you have a little bit more standing room for figures. And I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could even remove these and like put them on the outside of the vehicle, like it is on the other side, and then, you know, just use that space as standing room, or you could even like stick it up here or something. But you know, it is pretty nice that you're able to just pull that out so easily. But now to take a look at the other side of the interior, you can see there's not too much going on. Just another weapon rack with some larger weapons, and that's removable like the other ones, as well as a little tea kettle or stove to keep Spinjitzu's tea hot. But they're the weapons that are built up here. You do get a couple of the dragon hilts on this side. There was one on the other side too, but you know, those are always cool pieces for making Ninjago weapons. And you can just stick that in pretty easily, and you know, you can again just stick figures in there. And again, all of this area should be usable standing room with this on here. I guess Jay might be a little bit too tall here, but if we bend him over, we can probably get it in there. So I guess most of this area works as standing room, but this area here where it's the most open doesn't. That's unfortunate, but you can sit figures down in there still. And again, he is still mostly standing up. And here's the little detachable flying ship area, and you know, it looks pretty decent on its own. It reminds me a lot of the Destiny's Shadow from the Hands of Time wave. Features another one of those printed 1x2 cockpit pieces, and the steering wheel is pretty decent. It's obviously the small size, not the full ship steering wheel piece that you're accustomed to, but you can, I guess not with Sensei Wu, because he's holding stuff, but you can get a figure to stand right in here, so that they're right up against the wheel, or if you don't want to remove accessories and stuff, you can have them stand back there and like lean over. But the shaping around the front of this is pretty cool. I like the cockpit area, and you know, we do have these engines on the back, which work with this cool action feature where you can pull the engines backwards. It doesn't do too much, and a lot of pieces go into it for, you know, the kind of basic effect that you get, but it is nice that there's some sort of transforming feature to get it out of the sky. It is a little bit hard to activate because I do find myself popping these off. They're not attached super well, but you know, other than that, you know, it's decent, and I do like the builds for the engines there. There's a little bit of blue that just kind of shows up here, though, which is kind of unfortunate. And we got the green lights on this side and the red lights on this side, so a little bit asymmetrical. We got some stud shooters, which just shoot off, and we can access the interior of this by pulling these up. And inside we have that printed Ninjago movie slope, and just seats for 2 figures. So there are 4 actual seats in this, plus plenty of other sitting space and standing space for you know, the rest of your ninja. So this is a good vehicle in the sense that you can actually get all of the characters inside. It does seem like this, you have to lean the back figure, or I guess you have to lean both of the figures back a little bit in order for this middle one to fold all the way down. And it still feels like it's barely hitting the top of Nia's mask. Yeah. So it's a little bit unfortunate that that doesn't go down. It looked like you can push these ones down a little bit further, but this goes down to its flat position, I think. You just doesn't have any flex at all. So, you know, there's that. Works pretty well. And to show you from the front, you can see Kai in there. That looks pretty good. And it helps that, you know, a little bit of light gets let through by this cool cockpit piece. But yeah, overall, this is a cool little flying vehicle, and it's nice to have a thing that detaches. And I guess you can still leave someone standing up here while it goes flying. I don't know how safe that is, though, for Sensei Wu. And I guess you could also stand a figure up here, like on the, while it is regularly moving as the land bounty. The one thing that's, you know, secondary to the land bounty in the set is this Spinjitzu, or Forbidden Spinjitzu version of Cole, which the figure is exclusive, and we'll see him in just a second. But the actual Tornado combination here is exclusive as well, with the gunmetal gray on the bottom and the glittery trains orange on the top. And this spins just like all of the other Spinjitzu spinners from recent years. It just uses a 2x2 slider plate on the bottom. Unfortunately, with this set, you don't get a Spinjitzu Slam base, and those are, you know, exclusive to the Spinjitzu Slam sub-theme of sets. And as you can see, it is a little bit hard to spin these without those. That almost worked. But it doesn't have like a ton of weight to make it easy to do with inertia. That one spun pretty well, but ended up off the camera. But as you can see, it is possible to do. I just suck at it, and it isn't easy. So there's that. There we go. Sort of. It's a little wobbly, but that'll be the best you get. So the first figure here is Forbidden Spinjitzu Cole, and he is exclusive to the set. His torso and legs are just the regular torso and legs for Season 9 Cole. But, you know, it's pretty decent. And, you know, the back printing on the torso is pretty cool, as well as the face print is just the regular Cole face. And the really only special thing about this one is the mask with the trans orange molded with black dual molded. Looks pretty cool, and you know, it's a good look, and he does come with just a katana. We also have this exclusive version of Master Wu, and that's pretty cool. He does come with a cup here, as well as a staff as usual. His hat here is dark tan for the first time in Ninjago. Maybe it was used elsewhere, but I don't think so. And you know, it's pretty cool. He does have a face print that is new, which is cool. And, you know, if we take a look at that, it's a nice smiling expression. He has his regular old, nothing special about his beard, but his torso print is pretty cool. It could be used outside of Master Wu as well. And he does have this cape, which feels like it's the same cut as the Huns from Series 12, but that's probably wrong. And the torso print on the back is pretty cool, if hidden behind this. He also has the little hair on the back of his head printed on, which is pretty cool. So, you know, really neat figure, and nice and collectible version of the character, I think. And the other two exclusive figures in the set are Nia and Jay, and with the exception of Kai, among the Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu wave, each ninja only gets their hood in a single set, whereas Kai's hood is in 3 sets. The actual Kai, no, it's in 4 sets, right? Because it's in that Clutch Powers pack. So, you know, for some reason Kai is a lot more common than everyone else, like always. But I guess Nia and Jay are going to be the 2 rarest, just because they also come in the larger set. But the printing on the masks are really cool. I like the way that these suits look in general. And, you know, they both have the symbol right on the top. They both have their regular Ninjago movie faces, and the torso and legs are both in one other set, because they're in the set that includes the Forbidden Spinjitzu variant of each of these characters. Yeah, both of these figures are pretty decent. They have that shoulder armor, and I think this is actually the casual version of Nia's face that was in Ninjago City Chase, and, you know, they've tended to use the face that had the angry expression and the you know, basically just slightly less angry expression. So I think that it's cool that they've used this face print here. But they both have a little bit of torso printing on the back that's hidden by their armor. And their armor pieces just hold a katana like that. And it's a pretty decent piece and looks interesting. But, you know, it's cool. I like this overall design for the suits of the characters. And last good guy real quick, we have Kai. You know, he's basically the same as Nia and Jay, just Kai. He has his standard Ninjago movie face. And if we remove the armor piece, we are able to see the back printing on his torso. And we'll start off with the lead bad guy, or girl, I guess, because this is a Sphera. Or I guess we could also use the snake. But she uses the same base piece that they introduced in Series 14 with the Spectre, I think. She has this Forbidden Spinjitzu staff, which the top of that is dual molded in trans orange and gold. And it's like marbled together. It doesn't come out super well. She does have this little Forbidden Spinjitzu scroll, which are the collectible thing for this wave. You get the full sheet of all three. And one thing that I just noticed, this top tan one is not used by default in any of the sets. It's always either the fire one or the ice one. So I guess this is for if you want it to be held by none, but even in the set that, you know, it's put on a little pedestal in the slam set, they still tell you to use the ice one. But, you know, I guess you can use whichever one of those you see fit. And you know, the figure herself has this cool, you know, head mold, which is dual molded in trans orange and gold, and you know, you'll kind of get some shine through different angles. But you know, that headpiece in this color is exclusive to this character, who comes in this set and I believe the Fire Fang set. But she has the shoulder armor in gold, which is cool. Has a stud on the back, not used for anything, and the torso print on her is pretty cool as well on both the front and back. And that's what the back of her headpiece looks like if I didn't show you that. But you'll see that headpiece again in just a second, because it's used by both this Pyro Slayer and this Pyro Destroyer. And these guys have interesting weapons, because they have the Urukai sword in this copper color, which is introduced in the Hands of Time wave. They have that shield as well in that color. And this guy has the Elven sword from The Lord of the Rings, that sort of staff-like thing in that color as well, which is kind of cool. They both have the same torsos, so I'm not going to bother removing the armor from this piece. The armor is basically the same thing as a Sphera's, but in copper. And, you know, there's some back printing, which it's kind of like cartoonishly simplified, which is a little bit interesting of a design choice. They've tended to go a little bit more realistic with some of the Ninjago villains, but not this season around for some reason. And if we remove the torso, or the head, you can see a little bit of torso that gets obscured, which isn't too much of it. But, you know, these are fine army building figures. Did I tell you that this one is a Pyro Destroyer and this one is a Pyro Slayer? But yeah, one more figure. And this last character here is Cara, and this also appears in the Fire Fang set, I think. It's the Katana 4x4. And he's got a pretty cool head mold as well. It's actually different from the Pyro Destroyer Slayer Sphera mold, which is kind of cool. He uses the original, you know, snake body bottom mold, and has this cool staff, which I believe dark gray is a new color for this snake head, but I could be mistaken about that. And his head does attach to this armor piece in the same way, you know, where the triangle kind of wedges it in, and his torso print under there is actually kind of cool. You know, I like it, and it looks pretty good on the back. I think that this might be the most interesting looking of the ones in the set. A Sphere is cool, but her head doesn't get the level of detail across that, you know, is apparent in the show. Whereas I think Char's with the cool eyes and teeth that are done in the trans orange, that I think works a little better. So overall, I think that the design of this land bounty is cool. It looks neat and is just visually appealing. But when you compare this to something like the Diesel Knot, which was also really cool, and you know, probably even more visually appealing than this, and you know, was about the same size, but $20 less, this set starts to feel a little bit less cool to me. I still like it, don't get me wrong, and you know, it's still a neat thing to get a land bounty, even though it doesn't make much sense. But just like a ground vehicle that's a mobile base for the Ninja, that, you know, has the same color scheme and design style as the Destiny's Bounty, I like it. This set does have a better figure selection than the Diesel Knot, where that one only had the Young Wu as a desirable figure. But this set does have both Nia, who's in there, and J, using this handrail, and Master Wu, and you also get the main bad guy as well, which was who is in 2 sets, and that was one of the draws of the Diesel Knot as well, getting the Iron Baron. And then we also have this Forbidden Spinjitzu Coal with the exclusive Tornado, and I guess there are some pretty decently large pieces here. You get the sails, which, while they don't have much mass in themselves, they add a lot to the visual presence of this thing. So, while I don't think this is the greatest set that LEGO's ever made, greatest Ninjago set ever, definitely not even the best Destiny's Bounty, even though currently, this is like the second largest Destiny's Bounty-ish set. It's cool. The interior has some good detail as well for the size of it, and you can definitely fit a lot of figures on this, which is a good thing for Ninjago sets. I like, vehicles that can, easily fit all of the Ninja onto it. But, it's just, I do wish that maybe this had been a little bit cheaper as a retail price. I'm not disappointed at 130. I get it, but I would like to see this priced probably at 120. Maybe like 110 would be really nice, but maybe that's a little bit low, just because this does have more to it than the Diesel Knot. But overall, those are my thoughts on this. Oh, I guess I should say one other thing. We do have 2 of these large boat base pieces here in brown, and then 1 here in red. So yes, there are large pieces, and you get 2 bags actually of large pieces that are separated out from the numbered bags. So yes, there are larger parts than the Diesel Knot had, but still, they are basically trying to do the same thing. So it would have been nice to see this priced a little bit closer to that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.